It's your boy Butler. It's the best day of my life. Tomorrow's not promised. Go on, do your little dance while they still playing your song. Tonight, we are going to, let me make sure my volume is up. Tonight, we are going to, could y'all even hear me? It's the best day of my life. My name is Butler. Go on, do your little dance while they still playing your song. Tonight, we're going to talk to the mother of Almir Harris, whose son was unalived on December 30th or December 31st on 1:30 in the morning in the day room at Baldwin State Prison. He was autistic. He was a diabetic. The state of Georgia did not give him his insulin, and he is no longer with us. So first, I want to start off by saying rest in peace to Almir Harris. I had a personal relationship with him. He was on my caseload when I worked for Defects. Good guy, good heart, and he got a birthday coming up. He is a Pisces. His birthday is on March the 20th. March the 20th. Okay. Let's see. This is Mom.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good.
Okay. Best day of my life. I don't know how I can get no better. We are online and we are live. So for those people who don't know, although I've already put it in the chat and I've already created a thumbnail, we have people who've been asking about, what's next for Almir. Can you briefly tell us who he is and what we will be fighting for? And
Okay, so again, Almir Harris is the youngest of my children. He's 23 years old, and unfortunately, Almir was autistic. He was bipolar, and he suffered with type 1 diabetes. He also lost his future at Baldwin State Prison in Millersville, Georgia on New Year's Eve, which was December 31st, 2024, due to medical neglect. Now, because of what my son suffered through, not having access to adequate medical care, which is everyone's Eighth Amendment right, we are now trying to implement into some legislation the Almir Harris Inmate Medical Accountability Act, also known as AHIMA, AHIMAA. You can find it on Facebook page, AHIMAA. We are pushing to get the legislation passed so that no inmate has to suffer with a chronic illness and not receive adequate access to medical care. So one of the things that we, our family has been working on is the rally and balloon release, which is supposed to be happening on March 22nd, Atlanta, Georgia. And right now, our designated location is going to be Grant Park at Pavilion number 2 in Grant Park in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay. I need all of that. I need for you to text me all that information so I can put it in the description. So that way when they go and see the video, they'll have access to that.
Absolutely.
Okay. So the location is going to the balloon release is going to take place on March the 22nd.
Yeah, so what we'll have, and just to give people a heads up, what we're going to be doing, there'll be a couple of speakers. I have not solidified our speakers as of yet. I'm hoping that one of them is going to be a huge surprise for everyone. But we are working on getting our speakers together. We will have a memorial wall. So for anyone, and you don't have to just be a mom or a dad, and it didn't have to be your son or your daughter. It could be your family member, your cousin, your niece, your nephew. If you lost a loved one, in the Georgia Department of Corrections at any time. It didn't have to be this year, last year, the year before. It could have been any time. If you lost your loved one in the Georgia Department of Corrections, we are inviting you to bring a photograph, and make sure you put your loved one's name and their dates on their photograph to apply, and we're going to affix them to a memorial wall. We want to honor your loved ones, not just my son, because this is not just about my son.
Right.
This is about everybody who lost their future to Georgia Department of Corrections due to medical neglect or prison violence, whatever it was. It doesn't have to be any specific reason. If you lost your loved one, please come out, bring a photo of your loved one to put on the memorial wall. You will also have an opportunity, and it will be on the AHIMA Facebook page, AHIMAA. If you go to the AHIMA page, you will be able to get the information. It's not yet posted as to how you can order a memorial package. If you choose to do so, you will be donating $25 to AHIMA to help us get the legislation passed. And for your $25, you will receive a memorial t-shirt, which will bear my son's image, along with his name and his dates. You will receive your balloons for the balloon release, and you will also receive an awareness package that just is to give people information about type 1 diabetes, about autism, about bipolar disorder, about special needs, about neurodivergence, period. Because people have just lost this community. There's so many people fail in this community, not just in the penal system, even in the medical system. They're not paying attention to people who have neurodivergent issues. Neurodivergence is not a diagnosis. It is an umbrella under which so many diagnoses fall under. And we as family members have to be able to articulate that and to be able to advocate for our loved ones.
Okay.
So that's where we are at this point.
Okay, so I was online the other day, and I saw a list of humans that had passed away or had their lives or their futures taken away from them prematurely because of the Georgia Department of Corrections. And I saw Almir's name on this list. But however, in reference to the cause of death, I did not see anything in reference to his past. There's no cause. So my question is, because last time we were talking and we were waiting, and although we have had the funeral and he's gone over to heaven, we did not have a death certificate.
Correct.
So
Correct. And what I will say is those mortality and morbidity reports that I've been posting, I had the one from December, which is when Almir passed away. He was number 37 of 38 people who lost their futures in Georgia Department of Corrections.
Okay.
We do have the list posted for January, and I believe there were 29 more human beings who lost their futures.
That's crazy. That is wild.
Now, the craziness is there are some of the lists are showing a cause of death along with other information, but for whatever reason, the list that I acquired that had my son's name listed did not have cause of death for anyone on the list in December. No one is listed a cause of death in the month of December.
So they're trying to avoid maybe more than one. I wonder how many people are actually about to hit them in the pocket.
Well, I'm hoping that as we get people, and I'm trying to encourage, like I said, this ain't about just mamas. I'm a mama, but this ain't just about mamas. This is about family members, period. If they lost their loved ones, you need to come out and be heard. You need to come out and start networking with people. You need to come out so that we can start building up the army that we're going to need to fight the Georgia Department of Corrections.
Right.
Because they didn't just do this to my son. They've been doing this to many people, and it's not just men. They're doing this to women.
Right.
They are killing people left and right.
Right.
So we need to have people come out and be able to be heard. Tell your story. I don't care if you're standing with somebody else in the pavilion and you just had an opportunity to share your loved one's story. If you don't share the story or create the narrative, they're going to do it for us, and it's like there was an old African proverb I heard that said, when the lions will never be able to articulate their stories until they learn to tell their stories, because until then, the hunters are going to have the best stories. So the lions have to start roaring. The lions have to start speaking up. The lions have to start narrating our own stories. Right. And telling the truth about what's going on with our loved ones. I'm still seeing on a daily basis, and I promise you, Dana, you know me, this rabbit hole is new for me. Effective December 31st. I just got sucked into this rabbit hole of what's going on in the Georgia Department of Corrections, because before then, I was unaware of all the Facebook groups that I belong to right now.
Yeah.
There's probably about 20 of them.
Yeah.
that I belong to. But I was unaware. I didn't even know that this support system was out here while my son was incarcerated. And that's one of my goals, is to start reaching out to other families who may feel alone right now as they're going through with their loved one being behind that wall, because they don't have anybody to communicate with that's out here that's either already been through it or is already going through it.
Right.
We don't want them to have to be like me and come to the table after you done buried your loved one because of what's happened. We need to be able to reach out to them. And it's like I said, and I've listened to some sisters and brothers in other states. And of course, it's not much I can do to help them in their other states. But I think we have to collectively come together on a national level and have advocates in every single state in most of these cities to come forward and step up and say, hey, listen, this is how you connect with us. And we're going to connect the people in Georgia to the people in North Carolina and South Carolina and Tennessee and Indiana and Virginia and Pennsylvania and Delaware and Maryland, all over the place. We have to be able to connect. I just found out, and it hurt my heart. I have a cousin-in-law, my husband's cousin, just reached out to me on one of my Facebook posts. As a matter of fact, the post you're talking about with the list of the mortality rate for Georgia for December of 2024. And she said to me, her nephew, her sister-in-law's son, lost his life in a California prison, and they tried to say that it was suicidal, and the family knows it was not. But if we can't come together and connect on another, we have to be able to get together and reach out to these other families. I don't know how we're going to do that, but we have to be able to broadcast, advertise, and just put it out there that, hey, we're here as a support system to help you try to get through some of what we've already been through. And we kind of know, some things you can do, some things you can't. If you do this way, this might happen. And if you do this that way, the other thing might happen. But if we don't get the information out to people, and I think that's really key right now across the country, because people are losing their futures to all of these departments of correction. It's not just GDOC. It's all the departments of correction. Right. And right now, unfortunately, we're dealing with the orange one and his queen. They have stepped into the White House, and they're just deciding that they're going to start taking away the rights of our loved ones behind these walls while we're out here trying to fight for their civil and human rights. They want to take the rights away. So we really got to come together. And it's a dark time. It's a scary time. But it's definitely a time that we need to come together, bring all of our ideas and resources together and figure it out. I don't want to keep losing lives. I don't.
Nor should we. So what you're saying is this is not just a call for individuals who had lost their loved ones behind the walls, but if they have ever been incarcerated, if they have loved ones that are incarcerated, if they just got humans that they love, they need to be at this rally.
They need to come out to this rally. We are encouraging people, and I, as a mom who has my son lost his future, but I'm a mom, and it's like I'm asking you to come and support me as well. Sign that petition. Let's get some legislation going so that maybe if your loved one is still alive, dealing with a chronic illness inside that prison, we can guarantee that they receive access to adequate medical care and not have to lose their future, that they get to come home to you someday alive.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yes, absolutely. This rally is for everybody, not just for people who lost your loved ones. If you got loved ones that are alive right now, if you want to figure out how to help them, yes, you need to come out to this rally and you need to receive the support and love that's going to be there.
Got you. So the petition, can we sign the petition now, or we can only start signing it at the rally?
The digital version of the petition is circulating online. It is a change.org petition. You can find it on my page at Monique, Monique, Monge, Monge, and the number 1 on Facebook. You can find it on change.org. It is there. And I'm trying to remember, what is the name?
Can you send me the link so I can put it in the description? So if they look at this video, everything we need, all information that we have discussed in this particular interview, I need it so I can put it in the description so they don't have to go searching for it. It's right there in the description.
Nope. And absolutely. As we speak, I'm about to send you the link to the change.org, the link to the petition now, and that way you can go ahead and put it in while we're actually on air.
Okay.
But yes, it's this is something that I had no idea that at any point in my life this was going to become something that I was supposed to be doing, which was advocating for people outside of my son. Because of course, as a parent, you're going to do what you can for your own. And that is what I found myself doing all along. It was like I'm trying to fighting for my son. Well, there's nothing else I can do to save my son right now. But if you're listening to this podcast, or if you happen to come across it after it has been recorded, and you hear the sound of my voice, please know that I want to help you save your loved one. I do. I do. I want to get a message from you someday saying thank you so much for giving me that little tidbit of information, because it helped me advocate for my family member, and my family member was released from prison alive. Yes, that's what I want to do. Absolutely.
Okay. So for anybody that's listening, the way that they can help is, okay, so I do have this. I'm going to put this in the description.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, you sent everything too. The campaign needs to know. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question, and then I'm gonna let you get off. How are we getting the autistic population involved?
I have been reaching out to a lot of different autism organizations. I've been joining a lot of groups so that I can start getting my presence out there, helping people understand who I am and why I'm here. I posted on my Facebook, my personal page, or my Monique Monhay page, as well as the AHIMA page today, an article. And it's simply talking about, could my autistic child be arrested?
Yeah.
And go to jail?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole article I posted, because I need these people to understand your babies who have been diagnosed as autistic, who are only 7 and 8 years old right now, they're in danger. They're in danger because law enforcement does not understand autistic people. They do not. They don't understand that this person's behavior right now is not non-compliance. This is not being defiant. This is not disobeying your law enforcement commands. This is a person who does not understand what you're saying to them, because most autistic people are literal.
Right.
They're very literal. So if you're telling me, I mean, and I thought about this at one point, if I could get some police officers in front of me one at a time, and if I could have maybe 2 or 3 very vicious dogs on chains, growling and barking at them while I'm telling them to come towards the sound of my voice, and I want you to lay down on the ground, how is that going to make you feel? Because that's what you need to understand you're doing to an autistic person when you are yelling commands at them. Come towards the sound of my voice. Turn around. Lay down on the ground. Put your hands behind your head. That's frightening to them. They cannot do that. They're not going to, because they're afraid.
Right.
People don't understand it, and that's one of the things that I plan on doing, especially at the rally, is just trying to help people understand a little bit more about autistic people, whether they're in your household or in your family, because you might have a brother or a sister that got some kids, and they autistic, but do you really know what that means?
Right.
And do you know how to help them? Or do you even know how to communicate with these people?
Right.
Because they understand differently than we understand. So those are some of the things that I'm hoping that this rally is going to do. And it's like I've been telling people, yes, we're coming together in peaceful protest, but we're coming together to educate one another, to support one another, and to try to get some awareness going about several different things, because it's not just about autism or bipolar or type 1 diabetes. This is about people who are sitting in prison suffering from cancer or epilepsy, or, they have seizure disorders. Outside of that, some of them have schizophrenia disorder. I mean, there's so much going on with neurodivergence inside of these prisons, but they don't have anybody advocating for them.
Right.
Because the families really don't know what to do. I saw a lady post today that a friend of hers, and she clearly said it was a friend of hers that was in prison that was dealing with some kind of illness, and the family just didn't know what to do to get some help for their family member. There's so many people out here that are just at a loss, and I understand because I was in that space myself.
Right.
I was at a loss. I was like, okay, so who do I talk to? I mean, my son's calling me, telling me he's not getting medication when he needs this medication to stay alive. Who do I talk to? And then you call and they're treating you like you committed a crime because you had the audacity to call up here trying to ask a question.
Yeah.
You know? So these are the things that I think we need to be able to come together and help embolden our people, embolden families so that they feel like, you know, you don't need to feel intimidated about calling these prisons. No, by every means you need to call the prison and keep calling until you get somebody.
Can you get through? Cause
you can.
Okay.
You just gotta keep calling. And sometimes you gotta play with the numbers because you know you might find a number one line and it might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, how about if you drop 1, 2, 3, 5 or 1, 2, 3, 6? Okay. You want to get somebody on the phone.
Got you.
You just gotta, you know, come up with some creativity about it because they call themselves hiding from you. But I promise you, these numbers are published, so you have to be able to access them some way, even if you don't know the numbers. If a number is 6900, try 6901 because I promise you it's gonna ring somebody's phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might not be able to tell you nothing, or they might try to brush you off, but guess what? Hang up the call back and dial 6902. You
just got to be persistent.
That's it. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. I learned that the last prison at the last warden at Baldwin State Prison when my son was there prior to his passing, I learned that warden, for whatever reason, and I want to believe it was because she wanted to have some level of transparency, she put the prison numbers on the internet. But, you know, Kiki the Clown, the new warden, Takeda Jester, she put a stop to that when she was appointed as the warden back in November of 2024. She changed that to make sure that the phone number to the prison was no longer on the internet. And anytime you call, you'll get pushed off to what they call the communications center, mm-hmm. where you just get put them on the merry-go-round and telephone. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I did learn, and I know a lot of people may think it's hard, if anybody needs assistance, I'm more than happy. Just inbox me to give you a little bit of guidance. I reached out to one of my state legislators, which was one of the senators here in Atlanta, mm-hmm. and that specific senator was Raphael Warnock. I sent a simple email. Now, if you don't have the email address, I called the office. One of his receptionists gave me the email address. She says, you have to send it to this email. I sent it, and within an hour, they responded to me. So don't think that the legislators are not out here to help us or advocate for us. They reached out to that prison, and I heard from them within 3 days after I sent the email. So if you have a family member that's behind that wall and, you know, you're struggling to get help, or if you find out from your family member that because you called, they are now being retaliated against, yeah, reach out to your legislators, because what you're doing now is creating a record and creating a paper trail that the abuse or neglect is going on. And they can't deny it.
Okay.
So absolutely, we have to get to a point of understanding that these systems are supposed to work for us, but it's not going to work if you don't work it.
Got you. Did you ever get in contact with some of the major news outlets?
I have been in touch with the reporter that contacted me. I did. I sent an email out to most of my local news networks. So I sent them to Fox 5, 11 Alive, and WSB TV. I'm sorry. I think that's channel 2. I did send an email to all of them. The first to respond was Fox 5. And I did talk to the reporter. He got a little swamped last week because we were supposed to interview last week, but he hit me back actually yesterday. And so I believe we are going to be scheduled for the top of next week to do the interview, because he's still very interested in getting Almir's story out there, especially with Almir being a resident of Decatur, Georgia. Even though, you know, Baldwin County, Millersville, Georgia is outside, and I didn't understand that he was outside of their jurisdiction for reporting stories. Mm-hmm. But because Almir was a resident of Decatur, Georgia at the time he was arrested, they can cover his story. So we should be recording it early next week.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, quick question. In what ways did his time in prison affect your perspective on the care and support provided to individuals with special needs?
Okay, so I'm gonna be real transparent in this moment. And for your listeners who don't know, so Monique is blind. That's number one. I am blind. And so in 2021, the video that you've been seeing online of my son, and I actually just posted the full video today. The video of him in Fayette County Jail, where he was unjustly tased. The day after he was arrested in our home, both myself and my husband were arrested. So I actually ended up being arrested and going to Fayette County Jail. Wow. And as ironic as it is, not only did they arrest me for some nonsense, they put me in a cell right next to my son.
What?
Yes, sir. So I don't think Almir realized I was in the cell next to him, but I heard him. You know, he was kind of going back and forth with one of the staff members, and I heard him. And I said, wow, they put me in the cell right next door to my son after they arrested me because they said that we were arguing during the incident and that my breast actually touched my son. So that was considered battery. And then my husband was arrested as well because he had recorded the entire incident because we usually do that to protect ourselves and Almir.
Right.
But it changed my perspective because one of the things that I recognize as being a person with a disability, going behind that wall, is the fact that they really don't give a damn about your disability. I use a walking cane. Most people who know what being blind is about, I have a walking cane that I use for my mobility. It helps me to maneuver. So they took my walking cane from me. Basically, they handicapped me. They shoved me in a wheelchair and they pushed me to a cell. And then when I got to the cell, they told me I had to get out of the chair and figure my way around this little cell. And they took the wheelchair away. So there was really nowhere for me to go. I did learn that there was, for me to be on the bunk, and I was in a room in a cell by myself, but from the bunk to, I guess, the commode and the sink, they tried to give me some guidance as to how to find these things. But it just made me recognize that even in my son's situation, being autistic, having his bipolar episodes, dealing with bipolar manic highs and, depressive lows and all of those things, I understood how devastatingly confusing that environment can be for someone with a disability or someone who is dealing with neurodivergent differences. Because they don't understand things the way that we do. It wasn't complicated for me, but I really understood how that could be complicated for someone who doesn't understand. Why have you locked me in this little room and put this, shut the door, and there's nobody for me to talk to? And then you bring me some food that I'm not accustomed to this food, and you expect me to just eat it, and then you bring me some medication, and I'm not sure if you're even giving me the right medication. I understand how that could be so traumatic for someone suffering with special needs. It's just inhumane that you would treat someone like that. Yeah. And that was a part of the reason why I wanted to post that article today about parents of children who suffer with autism, because these parents are unaware that law enforcement, they're waiting for your babies to grow up a little bit. And I don't mean grow up into adults. They're just waiting for them to get out of elementary school.
Right.
Before they can put them in the penal system.
Thanks.
Yeah. Almir was 15, I think, the first time he was arrested. And that's the only arrest that I don't really have documentation of. That's the first time he went to the Youth Detention Center in Atlanta, Georgia. They took him to YDC. And just a few months later, he had already turned 16. And that was when I learned that in the state of Georgia, 16 is criminally an adult.
Right.
Your child ain't going to YDC at 16. They going to the county jail. And even if, if they're sentenced or whatever, they going from the county jail to prison at 16.
Yeah, I was wondering what's the percentages of individuals who are housed or placed in defense custody? What percentage, just in the state of Georgia, what percentage of those individuals end up going to the Georgia Department of Corrections?
I did some research. The first time I did a Change.org petition was back in 2019 after Almir, he survived life support that time. And I did do some research, and I believe.
Wait, how did he get on life support the first time?
Oh, because he was taken to Clayton County Jail. That's why I said he was taken at first to YDC, and then a couple months later, he had already turned 16. So when he was arrested again at one of the DFAS group homes, they took him straight to Clayton County Jail, and at the time he was 17. So at 17 years old, being very capable of communicating, which he was good at, he kept trying to tell these people that he needed insulin, and they did not at Clayton County Jail give him insulin for 12 straight days. So they found him collapsed in the prison. They rushed him over to Southern Regional Hospital. Southern Regional Hospital, in turn, had to put him in a life flight helicopter to get him up to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta to save his life.
Wow.
Yeah, that was one of the most horrific days of my life. September 12th of 2018, I will never forget it. Because when I walked into this hospital room, my son was on full-blown life support, and I could not understand why. When all they had to do was give him his insulin. And all of the medical staff at the hospital was assuring me that my son didn't have a drop of insulin in his body. They hadn't given him insulin for 12 days because he was arrested September the 1st. He ended up on life support September the 12th.
Okay. As you reflect on Almir's life, like what legacy do you hope he leaves behind, and how can his story inspire change?
Probably something Almir has always been able to do was just kind of bring people together. I'm still getting phone calls from people who are just learning of his passing. People who are telling me, Almir kept calling me. He was calling me, and I don't know how this boy remembered all these people's phone numbers. He was calling everybody. And different people were telling me, one of my girlfriends, as a matter of fact, I talked to 2 days ago, and she said, I just keep asking myself, if I had gone to him when he called me, if I had gone and picked him up and just took him to get something to eat and tried to talk to him, would things have been any different for his life? And Almir's always had this ability to reach people. He had a level of compassion that I'm grateful for, and understanding that Almir was my youngest child, but he grew up in a family that was about compassion, because he never met his oldest sister. She passed away years before he was ever born. But he had an older brother, and his oldest brother will be 35 this year. And, I know we even talked about this in his obituary, the fact that Almir, when he was at home with us, would take and always be a source of support to his older brother. He would help to bathe him, get him dressed, put him in his wheelchair. There'd be times that I'd be like, Amir, what are you upstairs doing? He's like, I'm taking care of Devin. And I'm like, Lord have mercy, what is he up there doing? But before I know it, he would have Devin completely bathed, dressed in his wheelchair, and they'd be getting ready to go down to the rec room and play video games. Amir was a very kind, loving person when he was not dealing with his bipolar episodes or, some of his autistic traits that would come across. When he wasn't dealing with it, he was a very sweet, kind, loving, giving person. And I'm hoping that that kindness and that compassion comes across in the work that I have attached to my own life at this point, and trying to help other people, help other families in Almir's memory, to be able to move forward, to be able to help other people. It's just like I found myself in a place, even during Almir's passing, my life had changed. A lot of things had been happening, and we had to actually rely on the kindness of strangers to help take care of my son's final expenses.
Wow.
So one of the things that has done has made me, and I made it a point every week, I go on change.org to donate to someone's funeral fund, because I understand what that feels like. It's bad enough that you got to bury your child, but to have to do it, and not have the means to do it makes it that much harder. And you shouldn't have to beg for the help. So I made it a point, and every week since my own son's funeral, I've gone on change.org to donate to someone else's child's funeral fund. So I'm hoping that a lot of change is going to come about because of Almir. But the main thing is trying to get this petition moved forward so that we can get the legislation implemented, pass the law, the Eighth Amendment right, that inmates have access to adequate medical care. It doesn't matter what your sentence was when you went to court and you were sentenced. It wasn't a death sentence. You should not be in prison dying because you have a chronic illness. You were sent to prison for whatever crime you committed, or if you committed a crime at all, but you were sent to prison for a specific reason. To die was not that reason.
Right.
And that's what I'm hoping I can try to change for some people, is that your loved one come home alive.
Okay. If there's anything you can say to a mother who is about to go through what you're going through what you're going through, or has gone, I think mothers are overlooked in this whole, the people in general are overlooked, but specifically a lot, when we go to jail, back when I was going to jail, the first person I'm calling is my mom. The person I know who got my back is my mom. This is the person for the whole decade that I was I knew that I could count on her. So, our mothers are who we lean on. But what can you say to another mother who is about to go on a journey, or is in the midst of it, or has gone through it and just don't know if she can hold on?
Be strong. Just try to be strong. Put your child first, because all that we go through out here, it's hard when we get the phone calls. It's hard when we being told that somebody done beat them. Somebody maybe sexually assaulted them, or they've been hurt. Be strong. Don't feed into that. Just be strong and try to keep encouraging your child to stay strong. And just know, that you're their lifeline. When they call at home, one of the things Almir used to call and do to me that would get on my nerves all the time was the fact that he would call me like, "Mama, what you cook today?" And I couldn't understand why this boy was asking me all the time what I was cooking. And I said, you know what? Probably because he ain't got no real food in there.
Right,
so he wanted to hear about. He wanted me to tell him everything I cook because he know what it tastes like. He know what that feels like. And what's going on? Hey, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, so for him to understand that, okay, Mama's cooking this, and that, he like, oh, I remember what that tastes like, Mama. It smells so good. I can smell it right now. And, it's giving them some joy when they call home. Just talk to them, just give them something that's going to remove them from where they are, even if it's for 35 seconds, just to take them back to a memory, a happy time, a peaceful feeling, a loving experience. Just give it to them, because that's all they got. If I had any idea that my son was going to lose his future, I promise you, every conversation that I had with my son would have been full of love. And I have to be transparent with myself, because every conversation I had with my son while he was locked up was not full of love. Sometimes then my son would get on my nerves because I was in my own feelings. Like, I don't want to keep hearing about these people hurting you. Stop telling me this. I don't want to know about it.
Right.
It was selfish. Don't do that to your loved one that's behind that wall. Don't do it. Find a way to deal with your own stuff out here. You got people you can call and talk to. He might not have nobody but you.
Right.
You can go talk to somebody and get that feeling off of you, or find some comfort, but your son ain't got nothing but you. Even if you talk to him about your favorite TV show, I done talked to Almir about TV, because I knew he couldn't watch TV in there.
Yeah.
I tell him about movies. Sometimes I would just tell him, okay, today we're gonna have 4 phone calls. If nobody waiting for home, you can call me 4 times back to back. You know what I would do? I would read to him.
Right.
I would read to him from a book. And that became our thing. When he called me, like, okay, Mama, what chapter we on? I'm like, we're on chapter 20. Let's go. Wow. And I would read to him, because it would just take him out of that place for a few minutes.
Right.
But I promise you, just hold on to the love that your son got for you, or your daughter got for you. Just hold on to that. So when they call you, you need to be a light for them. Don't be a dark place. Be a light for them. Talk to them about what you cooking. And if you're not a cooking woman, then talk to them about whatever going on at work. But don't be complaining because they don't need to hear that nonsense at all. They don't.
All right.
But yeah, just hold on and be strong and just try to be what they think you are to them, which is they everything. Everybody mama is they everything.
Facts. Big facts.
That's all they got. That's right. That's right. And that's why I say I had to train myself even through the autism and the bipolar. And I'm being real transparent in this moment. Sometimes my son called me. He want me to send him money. I'm not sending him the money. Mm-hmm. So the first thing out of his mouth was, okay, well, then F you didn't. You ain't nothing but a sideline hoe, baby. I'm like, what did he just say to me? But, I trained myself to say, okay, son, I love you. I'm going to talk to you on Saturday. And I would just do that and get off the phone because I'm not going to let him suck me into his episode because that's going to escalate. And then when we get off the phone, he going to be dealing with whatever he's dealing with behind that wall. And I didn't want to contribute to that.
Yeah.
So I had to get to a place of let me end this with love and kindness and just make him feel like, okay, today is Wednesday. Okay, son, I'm gonna talk to you on Saturday. I love you. I love you. And I would get off the phone.
All right.
And sometimes we got to train ourselves because, human nature going to kick in. We get sucked in all the time. We get pulled into some nonsense. But this your child. You don't know what they dealing with behind that wall every day. You only know what they telling you.
Right.
Could you imagine what they not telling you?
It's a lot. I was just talking to my mama, and like when I came home, I had a couple of teeth missing. And to the death of me, I'm always tell, oh yeah, playing basketball. I actually because you don't want them to know. We don't want y'all to know what's really going on because it could get weird. And we know that y'all gonna go off about us.
Right.
Yeah. So my last question is this, and this is when if I had a phone and I could and we could call up to heaven for a short period of time and you could talk to Almir, what would you say to him?
I promise you, even without imagining a telephone, I have called. I promise you that.
Yeah, I already know.
In my bed at night, I have called, and I promise you, right this second, I'm sitting here. I just picked this urn up from the funeral home day before yesterday, and I got my hand on the urn right now, but I couldn't say nothing to my baby, but baby, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Mama tried. I tried so hard. I tried my best. I did everything I could to help you. I did. And I'm sorry. And if I could have took this pain away from you, I would have. And I hope before you took your last breath that you knew that your mama loved you. I was right there. I was right there. And I'm sorry, but I love you. I love you. And I'm not ever going to stop loving you. And I'm not going to stop fighting until I get justice for you. And I just pray that before you took that last breath and gave up that ghost, that you acknowledged that your mama loves you and you knew that. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Well, I appreciate you. Now, on a brighter note, the March 20, I know I took you there.
Yes.
March
22nd
is not just a regular day.
No. Well, March the 20th is his actual birthday.
Right.
His birthday is March the 20th, and I promise you, to anyone who may have not been able to make it to his funeral, I will put more information. I'm asking people to bring a flower donation. His urn will be at the rally. It will be there. And you can lay the flowers and pay your respects to his memory. At the end of the rally, I'm going to make sure all of the moms, all of the family members, if we have enough flowers, I'm just going to distribute the flowers to all of the moms and all of the families that have lost their own loved ones. So don't feel like if you buy flowers that they're going to go in the trash, because they're not. They're going to be given to a mother who's been in the same space that I've been in.
Right.
We're going to pay our respects to Almir and his memory. The balloon release is for Almir, but it's also for all the other loved ones that have been lost, because I feel like, I don't know what it's like for other people to have lost their loved ones, but we share that. It's a shared experience. And I want us to have the experience of being able to honor each other's loved ones together, all at one time.
Right.
So that's what the balloon release is about. You know, my family will be releasing balloons for Almir Harris. Other families may be releasing balloons for their own loved ones, but we're going to do it all together as a community.
Do you have a flyer that we can start shooting out and sharing and posting on social media so that we can get as big as crowd as possible?
I'm working on it, and as soon as I have it, I'll make sure you have it so you can send it out to
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. When do you think you'll have it?
Within the next week.
Okay.
I was waiting for the T-shirts have been designed.
Okay.
I was waiting for them to come back so that I could put them up, and people will be able to kind of go online, pick their T-shirt, pick their size, let me know what it is. Everyone will be picking their T-shirts and stuff up at the rally.
Gotcha.
There will be a table where you go to sign in, and then you'll pick up your T-shirt, your balloon, your balloon. What is it? The band for your arm for your balloons and all of that stuff. So yeah, it'll all come together, and we'll make sure that everybody gets what they need to have for that day. And I'm hoping that this is going to be a day about love and remembrance and education and advocacy and awareness, because so many people don't know that this is going on inside of our prison. So many people had no idea. When I posted that one the mortality sheet about my son in the month of December, one of my cousin-in-laws on the West Coast put a comment up, and she said, all these people died in 1 month. I said, honey, only this is only the people who were reported.
Right.
Because there's some of them that then died that they did not report.
Oh, without a doubt. I'm aware of that. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I said, we need awareness. We need for people to understand, what's going on out here. And then oversight has to happen. Oversight has to happen in these prisons.
Yeah.
We have to have oversight committees to go and check on these people.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to do everything I can, Danny. I kind of run real hard when I get a hold of some stuff, and I done got a hold of this right now. So it's like I got my blinders on.
Yep.
And we're going to get some stuff done and hopefully be able to do some good work to help other people behind that wall.
Without a doubt.
And try to keep some other people from going behind.
Oh my God, that's the daily. I'm in and out of these schools. I think I did 2 schools last week. But I'm here.
If ever you need me to accompany you as a mother who has lost her son behind that wall to talk to some of these kids, please invite me, because my son started going behind that wall when he was 15.
You know what? We're going to talk off air, but I definitely got a situation that we can, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Absolutely.
We'll talk. But just know this, and I always tell you this, but I'm going to continue. Whatever you need me to do, let me know. I'm on standby, and I'm not beyond anything. Picking up trash, talking to people, passing out flyers, whatever you need me to do, just know that I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on again.
No problem. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Happy Ramadan, brother. So I'm going to put, when I get all the information, I'm going to put it in the description, man. We're going to have a rally for Almir Harris, who passed away in the Georgia Department of Corrections custody on December 31st at 1:30 in the morning. He was forced to sleep in the day room. He was not provided with his insulin. Still have not got the death certificate. It is now almost March the 1st, February 28th. Still no death certificate. It's just a weird place. It's a weird place. But again, got a rally coming up on March the 22nd, man. So I appreciate y'all. Like, share, subscribe. I'll be back later on tonight, man.